NNRG.
So it looks like the final Commodore 64 game we're going to be taking a look at for now is Rainbow Islands. Now, obviously, I am very familiar with this game, but not on the Commodore 64. In fact, I didn't even know a Commodore 64 version of this game existed until I was looking online to try and figure out what games to put onto this final poll. Because yeah, I was the one who chose all the games for the final poll here. That's kind of something I like to do every 50 of these videos. I even did that back on Shovelware Diggers back then, is I would throw my picks into the 50th, and the 100ths, the 150ths, etc., etc. Okay, anyways, I'm just delaying things here. Let's start it up. Got a disk file here. Searching for star, as usual. And then after today, we're going to be switching to the TurboGrafx 16 for the next 50 videos following. I'm not quite sure what kind of games we're going to end up looking at, because we've only got a few people who've submitted games so far, but okay, we got an intro here. In fact, this is a new one. I don't think we've seen this intro yet. Action? Is like that the name of the group, or... Oh, wait a minute. This music... For some reason, I recognize this music, but I don't know from where. I know I've heard this music before, like not like mixed like this. Like this sounds like oh, I'm gonna have to censor stuff. This sounds like something that was clearly like put together based on an actual tune from something else. I don't know where it's from though. I just know I've heard it before. Yeah, there's actually been a lot of swears in the scrolling red text that I'm blurring out right now, so... yeah. Anyways, moving on. More raster bars, this time taking up the full screen. Okay, we got a blank screen now, and we got our title. Rainbow Islands. Taito Corporation. We got an ocean logo on here. And another logo that... something gold. It's too low resolution to kind of read. So let's move on from here. So spacebar, I'm guessing. Yep, we got the trainer screen from the... Well, it says action again, so it looks like that was the name of the cracking group this time around. We got our high score saver and trainers. Not going to worry about the trainers, and it's already set to high score mode, so press return. And now the tape drive was... Okay, that was weird. It was showing dataset access for a moment there. You know, it's kind of weird. We don't really have please wait screens anymore, do we? Graftgold, that was the name that I couldn't read on the screen there. And then all of the high scores are HOK for some reason. Not sure if that was the defaults? Maybe. Although, that's kind of interesting. It actually has like a credits count in the corner. Even though this is a Commodore 64 game? Oh, that's interesting. I can't start the game. The joystick buttons don't do it, spacebar doesn't do it, enter doesn't do it. Okay, so do we have to put a coin in? Is this literally emulating like the arcade experience? F1, F3, F5, F7, F7, there we go. F7 is our coin entry button. So that means F1 to start. F1 to start. Okay. Oh. Oh, that's a frame rate. I am going to count that frame rate and post the number on screen, because that is low. Okay, let's see if we... Okay, we've got the normal mechanics here. So, for those unfamiliar with Rainbow Island, the idea is you're trying to collect diamonds representing all the colors of the rainbow. But to do that, you have to kill an enemy by causing a rainbow to either drop on the enemy or kill it with a special move. Or special item, I mean. And then the color of the getting tongue twisted. The color of the diamond that drops is based on where on the screen they are. So the trick though, is that you also kill enemies by hitting them directly with the rainbows, but if you do that, you just get a food item, which is only worth points. So if you want to get all the diamonds to get, like, the proper endings and everything, then... Whoops. I died. Okay, restarts it. Then you have to go for the diamonds. That time, nothing seemed to appear. Huh. But yeah, because of the fact that you have to hit the enemies in that special way, it can make it kind of difficult to get all of the diamonds correctly. Uh-oh. Okay. And then the diamonds or the rainbows do chain together as well. Oh, I got a power-up. Okay, so now I've got the double rainbow power-up. And then there's the green diamond. And just like with Bobble, which this is sort of taking after, if you take too long to climb to the top of the level, you kind of get a little hurry-up thing going, and a big pool of water starts following you up the screen. Yep, there's the water. I better hurry. Yeah, so one thing I'm going to be curious to see, the arcade version of Rainbow Islands supports powering up to 3 rainbows at a time, but the NES version only supports powering up to 2 rainbows at a time. So it'll be interesting to see if this game... Yeah, I didn't get any items from that particular enemy there. But it'll be interesting to see if this game actually has support for the triple rainbow or not, or if it's only the double rainbow. Oh wait, there it is! We actually have the triple rainbow in this game, something not even the NES version did. Actually, one thing I'm finding very interesting here, apart from the fact that the orange diamond is flickering, I'm guessing that's a trick they're using to try and simulate the orange color, given the limited color palette of the Commodore 64. I mean, I'm only missing one more diamond at this point, but I think I'm near the end. I forget if it's 3 or 4 stages per section of the world, which you have to get the diamonds within. And you might also notice I'm actually getting points just from walking. It's one of the power-ups I must have picked up, because that was also a power-up in the original Bobble, was a power-up that gave you, like... Oh, I actually got speed shoes there. But yeah, a power-up that gave you points just from walking around, or jumping, or... Yeah, there were a lot of interesting power-ups for getting points back in Bobble, and a lot of them carried over to this game too, so... One thing I'm not getting that used to, though, is the frame rate. The frame rate here is not good, to put it mildly. Like, I mean, I know you all know what the frame rate... Ah, darn it. I know all of you know what the frame rate is, because I've counted it and put it on the screen by this point, but I don't know what it is, because I'm in the middle of playing the game. Okay, please be the... No. Still need the cyan diamond to finish the level... Finish with all the diamonds. Although, to be fair, I'm not going to try to beat the game, because this is actually kind of a long game. But, yeah, I'm already up to the boss, so I'm not getting the diamond. But, oh, they even got the proper health bar in, too. And this is indeed the first boss from the game, so despite being a Commodore 64 game, this is surprisingly faithful to the arcade version. And I just barely got that. I was about to get hit by the boss there. But unfortunately, I did not get the cyan diamond, so I will not be able to go for the best ending, but I'm not going to be able to make it through this whole game in one sitting. In fact, I don't think I've actually ever beaten Rainbow Islands, because it gets pretty difficult near the end of the game. Like, people call Bobble difficult. Well, try Rainbow Islands. It's like twice as hard. Although I will say, compared to the NES version, even though the NES version doesn't have the triple rainbow power-up going... There's the cyan I could have used way back in the last world. Geez, first one I get here. Again, it's based on the position that the enemy lands at after you defeat them by dropping the rainbow on them. Not hitting them with the rainbow directly, but like dropping the rainbow on them. And I died, just as I got the triple rainbow power-up again. Oh boy. Well, probably not going to make it all the way to the end here, but gonna do my best. Got another one of the diamonds. And yeah, that's the other thing too, is the rainbows can actually make power-ups, like, point score. I am not doing well with words today. The rainbows can actually make scoring items appear when they cross into certain parts of the level. But, yeah. So, like, I mean, I'm not doing terrible. It's just... Let's be real. If I lost that many lives and I'm not even a sixth of the way through the game, it doesn't bode well. And I just realized I haven't even talked about the controls yet. The controls are completely responsive for the most part. One thing I am noticing is that there seems to be like a weird delay if you try to turn around and shoot a rainbow at the same time. Like, normally that's pretty easy to do in the arcade game and even in the NES game, because the NES version actually runs 60 frames a second. Get out of there. Okay, there we go. Almost got sunk in the water. But yeah, if you try to do the rainbow and turn around at the same time, it seems to delay turning around. So that's kind of annoying, but it is actually kind of impressive just how much stuff I can put on the screen here, just how many rainbows I can create as well, and that the game seems to be okay with that. Like, we are talking about the Commodore 64 here. But yeah, it seems like there is a limit on how many rainbows can be on screen at a time, but it's also getting rid of rainbows as you're going up. Like, I mean, normally they disappear pretty quickly on their own, but it's being a little hyper-aggressive with getting rid of them. Which, again, it's understandable. I'm surprised they're getting as many on screen at a time as they are. But it's clearly using, like, background tiles and stuff to do a lot of it. Well, I'm almost to the end of this level now. So I seem to be doing okay. I'm a little surprised I'm kind of still making it through. I've actually almost got myself all the diamonds for this section, too. I'm just missing the red and the green. Might be able to get the red right over here. Or not if I do that. And that's game over. But given the fact that there's a credit system in place here, maybe... Or, wait, it's doing a load screen? That doesn't instill confidence. I was about to say, there's a credit system in place. Maybe it would let you do continues, but... it's not looking like it. Yeah, it just dumped me back to the title screen. And I just realized my score isn't even close to the ones that are already in the high scores table. Actually, just as a test, let's put in a couple credits, and let's see if it'll actually let us continue. If we make it to, like, let's at least get to level 2 here. Which I'm just gonna race my way up the screen, get to level 2 as quick as possible. And then we'll lose all our lives. And see if having the extra credit allows us to do a continue or not. Because it didn't even give us the option with the last game there. Okay, last life. Gotta make sure the invulnerability runs out first. Okay. So let's see if it actually gives us the ability to continue or not. So we got the game over screen, and... okay. So long as you have a credit in place, it will allow you to continue. Now the question is, can we put credits in mid-game? No! Oh, that is interesting. Okay, so we're back at the start of the game here. So, 1 credit, 2 credit, 3, 4, 5, 5... You top out at 5, and you gotta use one of those to start playing in the first place. That's a little restrictive. So 4 continues for a game that's harder than Bobble? I don't know about that. And you know, as a fan of the Bobble franchise, one thing I've always found interesting is the fact that they tried to originally make Rainbow Islands as sort of pseudo-sequel, mainly because it involves the same characters. I know it doesn't look like it, but the original story of Bobble was that you had been transformed into these bubble-blowing dragons, and to turn back into humans, you had to sort of break the spell at the end of the game, and that's why you had a good ending and a bad ending. But the problem was, if you weren't playing 2 players, you only broke the spell for 1 player. And there's also girlfriends involved and also parents involved for the super mode. original Bubble Bobble was kind of a mess if you wanted the best ending, because even the good ending was not the best ending. But the thing with Rainbow Islands is that even though it's technically a sequel in terms of the characters, the actual sequel to Bubble Bobble was not the part 2 on the NES, which was like sort of like its own thing. But there was a game in arcades in Japan called Bubble Symphony, and that is the actual second Bubble Bobble game. And then there was also Bubble Memories, which was a third one, but that was even less well known than Symphony, because at least Symphony had ports to the Saturn, and I think there might have been a PlayStation port as well. But I don't know if those ever came out in America. In fact, I don't think they did. And then things got even more obscure when you ended up with really bad ports coming out. Like, there was a... Oh, how did I get that one up? There was a particular Bubble Bobble port to... I believe to the DS, which had such a serious issue in it that you couldn't even beat the game. Like, it was literally impossible to beat the game. It had something to do with, like, a boss screwing up or something. And this is baked into the game, like a DS game. This is before you could patch these things. So, yeah, that didn't go so well for them. And then they tried to reboot it on the PSP with bizarre graphics, which, like, changed the whole concept of how they were blowing the bubbles to capture the enemies in the first place. Bubble Bobble's taken some very strange turns over the years. Anyways, the point of all this is that Rainbow Islands is technically a sequel, but it's a sequel with the characters, not a sequel to the story in a sense. And it's otherwise, basically it's like Bubble Bobble in reverse. You're going up the screens as opposed to down the screens. But yeah, this Commodore 64 version port of Bubble Bobble is surprisingly competent. So... It is kind of weird, though, because when you think about all the different kinds of ports that came out for arcade games, to have one this close to accurate to the arcade experience on the Commodore 64, and yet so many other arcade games were ported so badly, it, like, makes you wonder what could have been possible with some of the arcade ports that weren't done this well, right? So yeah, those Rainbow Islands for the Commodore 64 plays pretty well, aside from the horrendously low frame rate. And the loading screens these actually aren't that long. Like, let's sit through this loading screen together, just so you can see that as far as Commodore 64 games are concerned, it's not that bad. Although, all things considered, it could just simply be that the cracking group improved the load times, because that's something they sometimes are able to do with these games. But yeah, as far as ports go, this one's pretty decent.